Vandeham Sri Guru.
The following is a conversation with His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, recorded on the 12th of July, 1973, in London, England.
Sri Rupam Sakrajatam Saharana Raghunathanvitam Tvam Sadivam.
Without, we cannot go very much further.
It is humanity.
Yes, humanity. I was in Rishikesh and 5 or 6 times in India. So that is why, wherever possible, I live with them, not for long times, a day or 2 or 3 or a week the most. Share our spiritual food together.
So far hospitality is concerned, according to Vedic culture, Indian homes were open for everyone, even for the enemies. Griham satramapi praktam vishyastyam akutobha. If one gets an enemy at his home as guest, he should receive him in such a way that the man would forget about his enmity with him. Griham satramapi praktam vishyastyam akutobha. So these are preliminary human behavior. Even without any understanding of spiritual values, they are expected to behave nicely.
Yes, it is very easy to love someone who loves you. But real purified selfless love is to radiate it without any discrimination, both to the person who loves and who does not love you. That is the beginning of that good hospitality. That's real hospitality.
Yeah. That I said, Griham Satrumapi Prapti. Even one enemy, he should also be received.
He's come to your place and treat him with all the respect and courtesy and that loving kindness.
From Mahabharata you can understand that when Bhima, Arjuna and Krishna went to Jarasandha to fight with him, enemy. So in the daytime they are fighting like enemies. And at night, Krishna, Bhima and Arjuna were guests in the house of the same Jarasandha. Yes. At night they are guests, they are talking very friendly and there is no enmity. But in daytime they will fight.
Yes, Gautama the Buddha, whom I follow, who is my teacher, a poor man came and he found him panting. Asked him, what's the trouble? Oh, I got news that you are here, I want to see you. And the Buddha found that not only had he run, he asked him, when did you last have a meal? He said, just quite a few days ago. He said, we cannot preach on empty stomachs. Ananda, give this man a good meal before he could come to me. And this fine virtue of hospitality, much as we have treasured in the past, when people leave their shores, they are inclined to forget this. I've been addressing various groups. I do not confine myself to Buddhist groups only. Whatever group was interested to foster some understanding, goodwill and peace, I addressed. I said 3 things that many people forget when they leave their countries are: first, the serene smile; secondly, hospitality. Thirdly, they become ashamed of their own cultures because many are strangers of their own cultures. I had last time an opportunity before coming to Southampton. I addressed some people from Sri Lanka, and there were some people from Canada as well at Montreal, and I pointed this out. In this light, I find almost all the teachers that come from that part of the world and their followers are trying to live up to this noble virtue. And if people get together, live together and have meals, perhaps even that
these devotees, they have not been separately instructed about hospitality. But because they are devotees of the Lord, this hospitality automatically they learn. Jasyasti bhakti bhagavati akinchana sarvai gunai tatra samasati sura. If one becomes perfectly a devotee of the Lord, all the good qualities of demigods manifest automatically. The hospitality is also a good quality. So, out of many good qualities, this is one of them. So these devotees, they are automatically well behaving to the guest, newcomer, on account of their advancement in Krishna consciousness. Because a Krishna conscious person takes everyone, not only human beings, but even animals, insects, trees, birds, beasts, everyone, living entities, as part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. So it is their duty to behave well with all living entities, not only the human being, but also even with the animals. Ahimsa. Amanittam agambittam ahimsa khanti arjanam. The ahimsa preached by Lord Buddha, that is also one of the qualifications of devotee. Amanittam agambittam ahimsa, that is stated in Bhagavad Gita. So we are preaching. Every religion preaches, but people do not follow. The Christian religion also preaches ahimsa, thou shalt not kill, but they do not follow.
Yes, we as followers of the Buddha take it from this angle that this mental process, which is normally subject to lobha, dosha and moha, we have to purify this mental process from these defilements and substitute liberality, including hospitality, in loving kindness and wisdom. It's not only a process of purifying, it is a parallel purpose of building goodwill. According to us, if we know to live together, eat together in a cooperative spirit, we are not going to violate the 5 fundamental precepts, starting with Panatipata, Veramani, Sikkhapadam, Samadhyami. That is not to cause any hurt to any mentally conscious living being. And ahimsa paramo dhammo, non-violence is the highest righteousness. And from this can come so much good. If we love each other, we express that love in its purest form by sharing. And if we share, we're not going to steal anything from someone else. We're not going to commit adultery. We're not going to say lies. And we'll not be under the influence of narcotics and so on. So that's that purification process, which is very, very powerful, not only for oneself, but the society in which he lives. I emphasize this virtue, and wherever I go, I try to meet within the limitations of time and transport.
Where you are staying here? London?
That had become a little difficult because it's difficult. We didn't know these ashrams, and we came yesterday. The Guru Nanak temple people made arrangements for our transport. We were staying with them for 1 week, and they looked after us dearly, and they made arrangements for our transport to come here. Some people were coming on some other business, so they brought us. So it was not much time. So we met a person in the street, and we told them that we are looking out for a place to stay. And that person said, well, it's difficult here. Then I asked about 2 or 3, and we had some addresses, and they were far away. Then we met a friendly gentleman who was just reversing his car. He was smiling, and we smiled. We said, well, could you tell us a small place to pitch a tent? We carried a small tent. He said, for a day or 2. He asked me how long is it, maybe just to find some breathing space at least. So we have pitched a small tent in a private garden. That's somewhere in Chesapeake Lane.
Where is it?
That's by the river. It's quite far away. So last night we stayed there. Is that on the western side also?
Yes, that's West 4.
West 4. Just
This is northern, not southern. You do not know. We are also guests for the last few days. Do not know much about it.
much about it. I was here in 1952 and somewhere in 60 as well. I've been traveling 18 years in nearly 100 countries and trying to build a little goodwill. Of course, I'm just one man and within the capacity of one person, and this boy joined me in New Zealand about 1.5 years ago. Few bridges are being made. A religion that is not lived according to us fails the purpose of religion, because religion should be a way of living. And if you live that, there will be less dukkha and more shanti, more peace. There is an awakening in almost all these parts. I was even in the East European countries, from Sofia right up to Moscow. Even there, I carried all the books, the Bible, the Bhagavad Gita, Buddhist books. At the frontier, they opened the books. I had all these books with me. Ramayana, Vedas, something from Egypt, Confucius, Laoshi. They opened, they looked, they put them back. Not one question was asked. And that very police officer who was passing my passport I saw him in the restaurant. He called me because I had an old photograph which I had taken when I first started traveling. That's 20 years. I didn't take it seriously. So he said, "This is not you." First, before I met him in the restaurant, I said, "Technically you may be right because we are changing every moment. So it's not myself." But after some time he passed my passport, and then I went to the restaurant where I saw him. He said he called me. He said, "Formerly I was an officer, now you are my friend. What do you eat?" Well, he asked the waitress to come bring him a very fine meal, the best you can offer in the restaurant. I said, "That's very kind." Then she said, "I'll bring you meat and all that," made a list in a note. I said, "Please keep me out of it." I said, "I'm a pure vegetarian." "What do you eat?" I said, "All vegetables. If you have rice, it's good." "Oh, bring him a vodka." Vodka.
Whiskey.
Liquor. It's like whiskey. It's a counterpart of Johnny Walker's whiskey here, which is Scotch. I told him I don't drink that either. "What do you eat and what you drink?" So, yes, what's the matter with you? There's nothing wrong with me. I'm quite healthy. And only thing I follow is the Buddha, and our first precept is non-violence to all mentally conscious living beings. And that's the reason why we follow this. You miss the cheek, don't you? I said, "I miss nothing. If one wants to have vegetables prepared, there are so many ways of preparing it healthier, and if one wants taste, it could be even more tasteful." All right. Bring him as many vegetables. "And what then you drink? Beer?" I said, "No. Fruit drinks, if you have." He ordered, gave me this thing. I wanted to pay. He wouldn't allow me to pay. He paid it. Those people are kind there. And from the time I went across, I could talk to anyone without any restriction. I could discuss religion with farmers, factory workers, doctors, lawyers, whom I made in the course of my, you see. And they were getting interested because people who have not seen materialism, they are very crazy for it. But once they have it, and it is beginning to be a surfeit, and divorces and suicides and other troubles increase, nervous cases, they think, "Oh, now there's a vacuum sitting in." So they are interested. I was in every East European country. They never tried to tamper with my books or my talks. Of course, I didn't organize any public talks. I made no attempt. Then Czechoslovaks, Hungarians, very warm-hearted people. There are yoga classes there. And I met quite a few Hungarians outside who refer to yoga. Then Romanians, Yugoslavs, Bulgarians. They are friendly people. Swamiji, have you been there in Eastern European countries?
I had been in Moscow.
Moscow. They're friendly people. I will go back again.
Yeah. Yes, I know.
Yeah. So, it is a world which is shrinking.
The government is against any religious.
Well, not so strict now as they past, because the word religion has been used as a narcotic by people. The religious institution was kissing the state, and the state was kissing them.
When I was in airport, the custom clearance, as soon as they saw my book, Bhagavad Gita, they called police.
I was also getting ready.
The policeman saw they are so suspicious.
I was wondering whether they would have asked me whether I am bringing narcotic, the religion, the heart of the heartless, soul of the soulless, the opiate of the masses. So I had read Marx before I left my country. I really thought they will ask me, but no such question was asked. And ultimately, when I was leaving the Soviet Union, they again opened my books, you see. and put them back. One book, and officer kept one book. I thought, now what is this? All right. He closed the suitcase, did not put this book, and he comes behind me and says, could I have this book? I said, you see, I have made many notes in the book. Why do you want that book for? So kindly return it to me, please. He won't return it, he follows. And he says, please let me have it. I asked him, what do you want this book really for? He said, I have studied Buddhism from the northern school and I would like to know something about the southern school of Buddhism. I said, anyhow, you can get these books. I give you an address. But he wouldn't give it to me. He said, please let me have it. I said, all right, good health and peace to you, you can have it. Hungarians are very warm-hearted people, very warm-hearted people. And Swamiji, you generally spend more of your time here?
Yes, generally in America, Los Angeles, and also in Europe.
We went to Hare Krishna in Los Angeles, also did we stay a couple of days? Yes. Can you remember they overtook our car and when we were coming there, they were waving to us? I think the world is shrinking, not that any continents are going down to the sea, but people are moving about the place. I think the more we start thinking about one world rather than big barriers and get together and meet together and talk together in a spirit of loving kindness, with tolerance, radiating our love always, I think this is the only way I know of. And people are getting interested in the universities and other high schools. Not still by the millions, but certainly by the hundreds and thousands. And that's good enough for a start.
Some of our books, they have selected textbooks in many colleges, universities. You have seen our books?
I've seen some of them, not all of them, because I meet these boys and girls and I've seen that book about...
This book, Nectar of Devotion, that is a study book in the Temple University. Similarly, our Krishna-More. And what other books? The especially Krishna-More and Nectar of Devotion. Bhagavad Gita also, as it is. We consider Lord Buddha also as the incarnation of God.
Yes, I know that. Of course, on this there is a difference of view between the Orthodox Buddhists and that thinking. Because during the earlier days of Buddhist preaching, there were certain differences of opinion, and the Brahmin sections fell into various categories. Some of them were not very friendly. Others accepted quite a few of their teachings. And a third section led by people like Sariputta and Moggall's son Moggalla, they became followers as well. And of course so many things have been incorporated. Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Dvesh, Abhiman. They are very similar to the teachings of the Buddha and they are very progressive. Because Lobha is at the root of our problems. Tanhaya jayate soko, tanhaya jayate bhayak, tanhaya vipamuktasya nati soko utubaya. Greed is the cause of suffering. Greed is the cause of fear. Remove this greed, where is the suffering, where is the fear? And of course, being tolerant and understanding, man being a bundle of habits and customs, we cannot eradicate all grief overnight, but certainly we can start reducing this greed. Reduce. And then that's the only way to purify the mind. And then also such a society where greed is being reduced will be relatively a peaceful society. Simple living, high thinking and high practice. That's the cornerstone of our philosophies. Multiplication of so many junks called national output, flying to the moon and not going into one's mind, and producing these things and calling them. And what is
sometimes we find that peaceful living is visible even in animal society. Just like the cows, they're very peaceful. There are other animals, dogs and others, they fight. But hundreds of thousands of cows, they live very peacefully. Birds also, just like the swans, they live very peacefully. So, that's the highest goal of life, to live peacefully, because that is also found in animal society. Is that the perfection of life?
Yes, man has to ask himself a simple and straightforward question. What really does he want to put his life to? Does he want suffering or peace?
No, suffering, of course, nobody wants. That's
exactly.
But in this material world, even if you become peaceful, does it mean that you are out of suffering? I don't think.
Yeah. Well, I've been asking in all these universities, high schools and almost audiences, what is the purpose of this so-called modern education? What is the purpose? If so, kindly define this purpose. Have people thought of this? I just gave a broadcast at Southampton day before yesterday. And not many people appear to have seriously considered this question. Is it to fly to the moon? Is it to be a food taster or a noise lover? Or is it to build dreams and castles in the air? Or to soak oneself in the whirlpools of karma, sensuality? What is this life for? What is our education for? No one appeared. Very, very few people have appeared to
say. No, there is no aim of the education. Their only aim is economic development.
That's right.
And that means fire standard of self-guarantee.
The more material things people can produce, that's supposed to be the educated person.
Yes.
And I told them, directly and indirectly, your systems, which had transplanted the well-typed system, especially of India, has created a catastrophe. We have made mistakes in the past, but we profited by them and evolved a successful educational system that taught the individual how to build some peace within himself, mentally and physically, within his family, within his relations, society, nation and the world. And today, that system has been overtaken by this materialistic system. One calls himself materialist directly, another camouflage just under the name of religion. That's the only difference I know of in these two systems in the West. That's the only difference. And I told them, I said, we want peace, shanti, shanti, shanti. And we know the danger of playing with the fiery ball of materialism, which is throwing its tentacles into any part of society. Divorces, nervous cases, mental cases, cancers, suicides. Family life is breaking. And it reminds me of Gibbon's writing about the decline and fall of the Roman Empire. And all those symptoms are there in this so-called progressive civilized culture. I use the word so-called. And this mind...
But what remedy you have suggested?
Reduction of greed and substitution of liberality. There is no other remedy. Because greed causes the rat race. Greed causes these wars. But if we reduce this, and the reduction parallelly followed by simple living, high thinking and high practice, there is no other remedy. Whatever religion a man follows, if they get involved in this rat race of materialism, war is inevitable, whether for a stretch of water or for land. But if man lives a simple life, this Mother Earth can be made to produce everything that is necessary. Soya beans are a very fine substitute for meat. And if they do not damage the crust of the earth, and if they scientifically control birth, scientifically, not by drugs and pills, which are dangerous.
What is that? Scientific?
It's the control of the sex.
Brahmacharya.
Brahmacharya.
This greediness, there is a good suggestion that you reduce your greediness, but unless they get a substitute, they cannot. That is the difficulty.
Yes. The substitute is, according to us, we point out, the difference between the sensual fleeting pleasures, which is not quite a proper word, there's no pleasure in the end that brings pain and suffering. In the renunciation of greed is piti, delight. And when a man enjoys delight, that's incomparably better and lasting, more.
According to Vedanta philosophy, every living entity is searching after delight. Anandamaya Vyasa. By nature, a living entity is delightful, but he has been covered by this temporary material covering, and therefore his delightness is pervert. So our philosophy, this Krishna consciousness philosophy is parang drishtya nivartate. If you give him better delight, then he can give up this inferior delight of material enjoyment. Otherwise, simply by instructing that you give up this, it is difficult.
That's right. One has to sabba papasa akaranam kusalasa upasampada sachitta pariyodapanam etang buddhanusasana. Abstain from the unwholesome, the source of all our problems and suffering, lobha, dvesha, moha. Kusalasa upasampada. Practice the virtues. That is, when the mind is rooted in alobha, that is non-greed, liberality including hospitality, adosha, non-hatred, evil, or loving kindness, amoha or panya, wisdom. And why? When one is on the Noble Eightfold Path, right understanding, right thinking, right speech, right bodily action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness and right concentration, there is that oozing joy and delight. And that is the finest substitute. Man, because of avidya, had not tasted delight. Because of his weakness, they thought moksha.
Yes.
That it was here in this earth when they indulge in sensualities.
We are from India. So we are therefore presenting Krishna, the most delightful feature. So, chanting and dancing before Krishna, taking his prasadam and practicing delightful nature, awakening the delightful consciousness, Krishna consciousness. So this is taking practical, say, all these European, American boys, Canadian, African, they are becoming delightful, and with great delight they are chanting, dancing and taking prasadam. Atasya Krishna namadi na bhavet graham indriyai sevanmukhi jivhado swayam spurata. We cannot understand God by our present senses. So the senses are to be purified, and that purification begins sevanuk, by engaging the tongue, jivhado, in the delightful activities of Krishna consciousness. So practically we are getting result. These boys, they were very morose, but now they are very delightful, simply by following this method, engaging the tongue in the service of Krishna. Tongue has got two business, tasting and chanting, vibrating. So they are vibrating. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Iva Kevalam. And tasting Krishna Prasadam. And we are practically saying that they are becoming delightful, living very happily, preaching all over the world. I started this movement alone in 1966, but these boys, inexperienced boys, having no spiritual training, they are trained up in their own ways. Meat eating, illicit sex, intoxication. But they gave up all these habits and delightfully they are going any part of the world and preaching this cult, and you are meeting in success. It is not that I have gone every place. It is not possible. I am an old man. So I give them direction. Just like this one, he is a grihastha. So husband and wife, they are organizing in Germany. We have got 4 or 5 branches in Germany. We have published this record and so many books and literature. So the Sankirtan movement, even though conducted by inexperienced young men, but they are creating delight to the masses.
But I am very envious of them. I am very envious of them. Because they have got this Guru's grace on them.
Yeah.
This Guru's grace which is working. It is the invisible, you see, which is all powerful.
No, you can get also provided you take it. And Guru is not wise.
Vision says, you see, I am minded of that.
One thing is that they take it, others will not take it. That is the difference. If there is a picture by Nirvana, the one man has fallen in a deep well and he is crying, save me. So another man dropped a rope that you catch it, I shall carry it. Then he will not catch it. Then how you can be drawn? Matta paratana nanya. There is nothing more superior than me. We are preaching the same thing. That you are searching after God. Some of you are disgusted that there is no God. But here is God. You take His name, you take His address, take His daily activities, everything is there. And that is our mission. We started this Krishna consciousness movement in 1966. So when I registered this society, somebody suggested that why not make it God consciousness? And no, I want to give definitely what is God. God, they have got different conception. But here is God. Krishnastu Bhagavan Sam. That is the Vedic injunction. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of God. And when he was present, he proved it that he is the Supreme Personality of God. So, we have not introduced any new system of religion. That is not a fact. We have simply blessed, administered the same thing which was spoken 5,000 years ago. That's all. 5,000 years ago, Krishna said that there is nothing, no more superior authority than me. We are preaching the same thing, the same old thing. Krishna said, Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam saranam vrajati. You just surrender unto me. Krishna said that surrender unto me, and we are speaking surrender unto Krishna. Krishna said that I am the origin of everything. Aham sarvasya prabhava, matta sarvam pravartati. We are speaking the same thing. That the original source of everything is Krishna. We are challenging the scientists also. They are of opinion that life has come from matter. And we are challenging, no. Life and matter both have come from life. This is our challenge. So, originally life, originally Krishna, life, not matter. Matter has come subsequently. So our this Krishna consciousness movement is not a new movement. It is the old movement, at least historically 5,000 years old. And we have got so many books. We have, out of 60 volumes, we have published only about 12 volumes. So it's a great literature, Srimad Bhagavatam. So everything is there. Nothing new. We haven't got to make a new system of religion. It is already there. Simply, people may kindly understand it. That is our proposition.
What happens when similar statements are made by other people that they have their own God who says they made a unique system, and someone else says no, we have our own unique system. Someone is saying, no, all those three systems we do not agree with. We got our unique system. What's going to happen in that?
That will fall in upon each other. The system which is accepted more, that is successful. You can present so many systems, but the test will be which system is more accepted by the people, by the mass general people. That is successful. Fall in upon each other. And if somebody says that I have got my own God, and some other says I have got my own God, and this is a fact, God is one. You may call by different name, that is different thing. But God cannot be manufactured, that you manufacture your God, I manufacture my God, he manufactures his God. That is not God.
That's exactly what is happening.
That happening, that is another thing. We are talking of the principle. God is one. God cannot be two. Then there is no meaning of God. Now, if I present Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead,